What's up, YouTube? It's Team Plays for Days. I'm Oppie. Once again, I'm coming at you live with another deck profile with the deck that I got top 8 in Atlanta Worlds with. So, let's pan down. Here's the nice button. Yes, the pin looks ever so lovely. And this profile is for my A-Dog homeboy, As Moda in Magic World. Let's get on with it. So, of course, pretty standard. We got the 4 of the buddy, art of body duplication Asmodai, because he is just too good to not be in the deck at 4. He's just too good to not be in any deck because he is the best, because he is a dog, and he dabbed on everybody he possibly could, because the deck was called Dab on him, A-Dog. We got his alter ego form. It kind of balances out his childness. We got the teacher, Fervent Teacher As Moda, or Veverant Demon Lord Teacher As Moda. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on in the name. You can't even read it because it's all gold. For those of you guys who are newer to this As Moda, he is the one that you pay 2 gauge, and you have to bounce a 72 Pillars monster from your field to your hand. And when he comes out, he destroys a monster on your opponent's side of the field. And if there are 2 or more, I believe it's 2 or more. Yeah, 3 or more. 3 or more other 72 pillars, he destroys another card. So if you have your setups of your set spells and 2 guys on board, and you bounce back your 3rd person to play him, you'll get the first initial destruction and then the second one. So it's really good to just clear out boards, as if you run into 5th Omni, you can pop probably a drum if you've already tried to bounce it with a goodbye, and then pop an item, and you can just go off on big plays, and he's just really strong for the deck. I normally found myself actually gauging him if I saw him early, because I didn't want to play him straight out, because 2 gauge is really strong and really hard in this deck, because of the gauge issues that you can run into. And so you initially just get his effect off of Saturday Night Devil Fever if you find yourself in a situation and you have to use Body Art of Duplication on him. We move on to the guys we play 3 of. The Demon Doctor Bar. A little lion head dude with some sneakers and some braids, because he looks kind of Viking-like. When he come and go, he comes out and he gives you a free gauge. So just straight free and a plus everywhere. He's a 1/1/3. And at the end of your opponent's next turn, if he comes out and gives you the gauge, he is destroyed. Most of the time, if I saw him, I would pull him out for the gauge, and then either call over him or bounce him back with, Fervent Teacher if I had to hard play it, and then I wouldn't have to get the destruction, and I would have another play to get off for gauge. Up next, we have the ever so lovely and ever so charismatic Dance As Moda. He is the 6/2/6 or 6/2/1. He's just kind of like the bigger attacker of the deck. He's really the only kind of size 2 that you play. You pay a gauge, and when he comes out, you draw a card. So it gives you the plus at just the cost of a gauge. I saw him mainly just starting every game for me, just because he does the 2 crit at the beginning and I get the extra draw. The 1 gauge doesn't matter because it's just I start the game over, essentially on my first turn. Up next, we have the Street Racer Eligos at 3. This guy actually helped a little bit. I don't know if I like him at 3. I'd probably drop him to 2, honestly. His attack and defense being so low doesn't really get you around, but his crit being at 2 helps a lot whenever boards are open from your spells and your other effects. His ability is he has a counteract ability where you pay a life if someone is attacking you, and you can play him from your hand to redirect the attack. And when he is destroyed, you can pay a life and just add him to the hand.
Not going to answer that?
No. We got business to attend. Up next, we have the inverse second Omni Demon Lord Death As Moda. This is by far. Oh, why am I shuffling that? Whatever. This is by far my favorite inverse. Because one, he's As Moda. Two, he is just his effects and his abilities and the way that he helps out the deck is just awesome. 50,000 attack, 3 crit, 10,000 defense. Makes it really hard for decks that have low attack standards to get over. Obviously loses the Shadow Dive. But the only things you really see problematic with that is like Dark Heroes, which he didn't see that matchup because I know better than to put him out there and see Gwyn's just running a train through him. So he always got sided out if I ran into Dark Heroes. He is pay 2 gauge, and when he is destroyed, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you call them if they're monsters, without paying their call cost. This came in clutch really hard in one of my games, and where I had to fight around him, and he came out, and it was against Raging Spirits actually. So Billy and Knuckle had to link attack with Ricky and the Fist to get over him, and then when they did, he died and brought out the second one. Well, then he had to try to find a way around that one because I was blowing up fields. When he got to this one, it ended up turning into a Transformation Boy, a Shaq's, and then a Teacher As Moda, which gave me a bounce ability, a draw, and then 2 destructions because I had a set spell. So the second one was just it was too great. We go into probably one of my favorite cards in the deck, which is Transformation As Moda. He's only really my favorite because he's free to come out, and you don't have to use his ability. His ability can come into any problem and actually like help any situation. When he enters the field, you can discard a card and bounce a card, just any cards you want on the field, unless it's Throne Room, Dragon Throne, stupid card.
Yeah, such.
I hate that damn card.
I hate it.
And it actually helps that he is a 3,000 attacker, because most of the things you see nowadays that are rushing have only like 1,000 defense. Like ninjas, other As Moda decks, most of your like Dungeon Knights and stuff, he just gets over problems. So he'll get rid of one problem and then he can pop little ones, and then that leaves the room open for your other guys. He's just really strong. I might bump him to 3. I have no idea. I kind of like him at 2. I know I side a 3rd one, but it's really, he's just so strong. Move along to the Demon Realm Architect, Gamigan. Okay, for 5, he's 5/1/1. This guy can set up a lot of your like just shutdown plays. So you pay a gauge to call him, and when he enters the field, you add a set card from your deck to your hand. Now, the reason that this guy was so good for me is I saw him both games on turn 1 against Dark Heroes, and I was able to shut them down because I played them and then searched out Barking Solomon. Played the Barking Solomon. So yeah, that was my 2 gauge. When they went into their attack phase, they went to attack him, and I just good to go'd him back to my hand to gain the life, and then played him on the next turn to get the hospital, which every once per turn for them, they were just discarding a card, and I was gaining life on their turn, I was gaining life on my turn, and it was just, this guy came in so much help for that matchup, and I probably couldn't have done it without him. I've seen people play him at 3. I like him at 2. I feel as though if you go over 3 or go over 2, it's just too much. You don't need to see your set spells once you've already got them, obviously. We played 2 Shaqs because Shaquille O'Neal likes to play ball with his teammates.
What?
His name is Shaq, man. So when he comes out, if there are 2 or more 72 pillars on the field, you draw a card. He's 4/1/1. I can't really say anything great about him except for it's the draw for free if you have the guys on board. Every time I saw him, it was when I had a max out board. I never saw him just like by himself, to where he couldn't help me at all. So I feel 2 is a good spot for him. Any more than that would probably be a little cluttered, because then I probably would see him by himself, and it's not necessary. And then we have the one of Let's Play As Moda. 5/1/1, gets over a lot of problems because of the 5 attack. When he enters the field, you gain a life.
Only if you have Asmodai and drop.
Yeah. That thing. Well, I mean, you run
50,000 Asmodai.
Yeah, you run so many Asmodais, there's almost not a chance that you're not going to gain a life. So, whatever. I mean, you forget to read later on. We'll move on to the spells. That's it for the monster lineup. We ran for this card right here, good to go. Just a great card to get rid of, to get your guys back, to gain your life. If you have emergency medical ward, you obviously gain 2. One from this and one from the ward. But it comes in good because if you run out of plays on board and you know you don't have guys in your hand, or you can set up the next turn, and they target your Asmodais or your other guys that can set up plays, you're just good to go. Your own guys back to your hand, stops the attack, and you get the 2 life, and then you get the setup for the next turn. So good to go is just a great card for a counter of bounce any size 1 monster or less on the field and gain a life, and it's too good not to play at 4, really. I see people play it at 3. I might try it at 3 to see if I have like a more consistency with, like, if I add in new monsters or add in new spells, like try out differences. But I don't see myself running away from 4 because it was really good to have. Obviously we all play this card at 4. It's a nice one. Because, you know, when you pay a gate, you like to draw 2 cards, right?
Drawing is good.
We all love to draw 2 cards. And when you can open up on your first turn and you have a hand of 8 when you're supposed to initially start with 6 and you go first. So, you know, because you have, you know, your demon or your dance Asmodai, and then you play this. And then you'll probably normally run into, like, say like a Never Say Never or Mind of Hardcore. You'll always get your gauge back, and it's just, this sets up for more plays as it goes, because the more guys that you can have in your hand, the more of every unique ability that you can get off to just help your field and make your opponents just hate life, because you have all the answers all the time.
Word.
We go into this card, which I'm probably going to knock down a little bit. We have Magical Goodbye. For the counteract ability to return a size 2 or less monster on the field to the owner's hand. I might drop this 3 because I like the 4 Good to Go better than the 4 Magical Goodbye, and I might side the 4th one. But it comes in really handy too. I mean, for things that obviously Good to Go can't hit, like whenever a Drum Lord comes out, and then you're just like, Magical Goodbye, and then they have to find out how they're going to work around Drum to keep them alive. And you're just like, I'm just going to keep bouncing the guy, and then I'm going to eventually destroy him because they can't just Dragobond forever. I mean, they try, but he going to die eventually. Then we move on to the biggest play setup combo card of the deck, and that's Saturday Night Devil Fever. I made a huge misplay with this card. I'm not going to lie to you people, because I'm not the best in the world, and I'm going to be from now on, and that's a promise. I could have got further into top 8. I honestly could have. What I did wrong was I don't know how to read cards. And I read this card as 72 pillar monsters, and it just says 72 pillars. So when I could have had game in my top 8 matchup, I didn't play it because I thought I had to have 6 72 pillar monsters in the drop zone. But you know, you live, you learn, and whatever. It was like my first time picking up the deck, so I kind of just had like a rough run through of like what was going on. But the effect of Saturday Night Devil Fever is you pay 2 gauge and a life, and you can only cast it if you have 6 or more 72 pillar cards in your drop zone. It's a counter ability, so you can also use it on your opponent's turn, and then you can do it like after you attack to set up your big play. You choose 3 size 1 or less monsters.
Only size 1s.
Oh, only size 1s? Alright. Well, normally it's like 1 or less. Whatever. See, I don't know how to read. But
It's okay, that's what I'm here for.
yeah, we got to learn. But you choose 3 size 1 72 pillar monsters from your drop zone, and you call them to the field. And then you shuffle the rest back into the deck. It helps so well with your attacks, because if you have a loaded board and you have like you were just gonna say 3 size 1s, and one of them being Art of Body Duplication as Moda, you get 3 attacks there. The 4th one from the Art of Body Duplication spin. You activate this, you get 3 more attacks. Most of the time, I saw myself using this as like a counter during my opponent's battle phase, and I would pull out Teacher Feverence to clear their board, because I would have all the effects to be able to go off. So you get the 4 destructions, like 2 on monsters and 2 on anything else. And it was just the game. This card changes the game, and seeing it at 3 is not too much, because you can charge it and still know that you'll have 2 more later. It's just the best.
It makes the deck good.
It does. It makes it more consistent and more threatening. We go into this card, Never Say Never. I run it at 3, where I see most people running it at 1. I like this over Mind of Hardcore. The reason I like this over Mind of Hardcore is the occasion that you have blown everything, and you are now down to top decking because your opponent found the outs to all your resources, found outs to all your gimmicks. You can go down to 1 hand to like empty into your last gimmick, like shutdown, and then Never Say Never for the 2 gauge and then the 2 draw, and then hope that you drop into like a great Saturday Night Fever, and then you got the setup because this card sets you up for it. It came in more clutch than anything else in the deck besides Saturday Night Devil Fever. I think I got the second effect off like maybe 3 times the whole day, but I more used it just for the gauge, because it was just better, because Mind of Hardcore needs to have that the requirement to play it, and this card's just play it once per turn. We run 2 of the set spell Emergency Ward Neverland. It for no gauge, you play this card, and when a card is returned to the hand from the field, you gain a life. This ability only activates once per turn, obviously. So like I said earlier, I had this set up with the Barking Solomon, and the combo was just anytime they had to attack and like their Swartz or their Gwynns had to return back to hand, I would gain a life, and then they'd have to discard a card. So this card is just, it's really good, especially when you're playing Magical Goodbyes and Good to Goes, because you're bouncing all the time, so you can gain like once on their turn, once on your turn, and by that time you're just gaining the life advantage, and it's just really great. We move into the second set spell, which is the Barking Solomon. Pay a gauge for it to set. Anytime that a card is added to your opponent's hand outside of their draw phase, they have to discard a card, but that only happens once per turn. So when they attack, boom, their Gwynns go back, they discard a card. I Good to Go somebody, discard a card. It's just, this card helped a lot of plays. I might want to see this at 2, because there was once where I found this in the gauge, and I hated life because I needed it. So it might see itself at 2. I don't know. We'll see where it goes in playtesting. Next up, we have the Mind of Hardcore. You can only play this card if you have 2 or more 72 pillar monsters on the field, and you get 3 gauge. I see more people playing this at 3, but I found a problem with seeing always having 2 monsters on the field. Like, I mean, I could do it, but I like to never say never being able to just happen if I needed to set up a field, where Mind of Hardcore happens after you're already set up and you need to go into like Saturday night. So this at 1 isn't terrible. I might go 2 Never Say Never, 2 Mind of Hardcore. I've been kind of contemplating it, but right now I just like it at 1. Boom, boom, boom. We making some noise. I don't like this card really. I played it at 1. And every time, I used it once, and it was just to bounce Billy Knuckle to get rid of his soul, and then I got over the Billy Knuckle. Other than that, I didn't like it, because you have to have 3 or more 72 pillar cards on the field, and it costs 2 gauge to bounce 2 things. I feel like this can be something else, probably the second Mind of Hardcore. I would side it in case like there was like a rush deck that was obviously running faster than I could, but other than that, I didn't use it much. I found myself charging this more than anything. And then we go to this card right here, the Magical Glue. This saved me so many times in the main, and I want to make it 2 in the main, and then 1 in the side instead of 1 in the main, 1 in the side. So for the 1 gauge and the counteract, you can choose one of the following abilities. You can either return an item on your opponent's field to his hand, or you can rest a size 2 monster on your opponent's field. So Drum can just go to sleep. Adventure Knights can keep paying their 1 life. Like, people with their big problem items just saw a lot of issues with this. I back to back actually, when I was playing Dark Heroes, after I sided in the second one, he goes Makuro, swing, and I magical glued it right back to his hand, and now then he had to discard a card, and I gained a life. And then the next turn he went Makuro, swing, and I magical glued it again to make him discard a card and gain a life. And this card is just, this is love. And that concludes the deck profile today from Magic World. Like I said, I got top 8. I think I finished 5th. Hopefully I see you guys in Chicago. I'm not going to make the same mistakes that I did in Atlanta. And I will be on this stage again, and I will come back with another pin. And I promise you all that, because not only am I the misfit, I don't tell lies. So thank you guys. Like, subscribe, share, comments. If you hate my build, if you hate me, because I know you guys hate my card burn profile. Yeah, thumbs down in me is not cool, man. I'm the coolest person in the world. Anyway, like Team Plays for Days on Facebook. Get us the shout outs.
Team P4D.
Like us on the YouTube. If you recognize us in public at any event, you know,
say hi, say what's up. We're here.
Come up,
We're
say
nice
hi.
people.
If you have an interesting deck build that you think that needs to be shown out there, if you think that you have the sauce, man,
we will record it.
We are not opposed to talking to anybody. Man, we are just here to meet buddy fighters and have fun and play this game.
Because that's what it's about.
And you know, don't be afraid to talk to us, because we won't be afraid to talk to anybody. All right. So love you guys. Later. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time whenever we all top 8.
Woo!